Hello everyone, welcome to episode 34 of Scion, Birth of the New Gods. I am Simon at Wandering GM. I use he, him pronouns, and I am going to be the... Wow, GM. Yeah, I've said that already. Oh my god, it's early. The Fates, playing the role of the Fates for this game of mythic storytelling. But before we dive back into our game and meet our players for today, I would just like to rapidly thank all of our sponsors, beginning with Mage Hand Press, makers of D&D 5th edition supplements, such as the amazing campaign setting, sci-fi fantasy campaign setting, I should say, Dark Matter, that we've played here on the channel for quite some time. We also have Found Familiar. If you crave good coffee, you should definitely check them out. FoundFamiliar.com for both places, both Mage and Press and Found Familiar. You can use code WanderingDM to get 15 and 10% off your purchases, respectively. Third is the platform that we use for all of our games here, a platform that got a little upgrade lately, Roll20. That I heavily suggest you check it out if you do not know it already, which is a virtual tabletop that lets you play all of your favorite TTRPGs with people from all over the globe. Last but not least, our affiliates, Die Hard Dice. They've just released an amazing, gorgeous set of dice called the oh no, something Wyvern. Quick, what was the first word? Simon, no! Why did you forget about it?
Chloris Dragon?
No, the Dracona... Yeah, Dracona Ventus Chloros.
Yeah.
Which is gorgeous.
Looks cool.
Metal dice with, like, these green dragon scales in them. Very, very beautiful. I suggest you check it out. It released literally yesterday, like 24 hours ago. So get it while you can. That said, that's enough from me. I'll pass the mic on to our players, who, please, if you can introduce yourselves, tell us who you are playing, and then we'll get the ball rolling on our 34th session. We'll begin with the person who is all by herself up at the top of the overlay. We'll start with Hannah. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I am sleepy like the rest of us, but I am good and I'm happy to be here. I am Hannah, she, her, Animation Art on Twitter, and I am playing in this campaign Kieran Kearney, he, him, Scion of Loki.
And then moving on to the other row on the overlay, we have... We'll start with Lynn. Hi, how are you?
Doing good. A little tired. Building Gundams will help you with building shelves. That is quite a... But yeah, I am Lynn, and I'm playing Dee, daughter of Inari. We are both she, her.
And last but not least, Hawkeye. Hello,
all right.
How are you?
Well, if Hannah is sleepy, then I guess that makes me Doc, right? I don't know about who makes up the other five dwarves, but I'm Robert, otherwise known as Hawkeye, Kentucky Hawkeye, and I will be playing Professor Finbar O'Dupta, scion of Ogma out of the Celtic pantheon, and otherwise Professor literature and arcane history specialist and all-around book guy.
Speaking of sleepy, maybe this song wasn't the best one in our soundtrack. Let's go with something a little more hyped up. To recap our last session, actually, we had a lot to recap last week, as it's been, like we described, a month since the incident over on the highway in America with Chantico, which led to Eddie having to leave the group to go and handle operations over at Queensguard in a more permanent fashion. The godlings were chilling, is the technical term, I believe. Enjoying some hard-earned downtime for a while, until their old pal, their old friend Yoshi, the betrayer, showed up. Of course, unable to walk to the cabin that you owned, the sort of mystical semi-realm that is somehow connected to Earth, yet sits in its own kind of plane of existence. Yoshi cannot enter, as he's been banned, but he knows the ins and out of the place, as he's been living there for a while with you, and used the cabin's ability to summon anything that you can think of, so long as you believe that it's always been there. The house rearranges itself to make it into a reality, and that's what Yoshi abused and used to summon, create, we're not quite sure, a giant scorpion filled with smoke. That's kind of weird. Scorpion that grew in size from what seemed to be just like a dog at first, which is rather large for scorpion, I've been told, to the size of an elephant in the living room. It did quite a number in damage. Broke the lights, broke a coffee table, probably broke a few pieces of furniture that we didn't really get into during the fight, but you prevailed and defeated the scorpion, who disappeared in a puff of smoke. And that's where we ended last week. We'll start this week with the group standing exactly where you were, in the porch of the house, as you hear Choppa's voice as he waddles rapidly towards you. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. What happened? I heard a commotion.
We
So
almost
I think
had an unwanted visitor.
He like bends or like leans over to try to see past the group of all four of you and into the house.
unwanted visitor maybe is the wrong thing. Apparently Yoshi still has some permissions in this place. And some are the giant scorpion.
Oh, that's not good. Huh.
I didn't think it was.
Also, what's that deer doing here? He asks, pointing at a unconscious deer.
Yeah, that's
Oh, that,
we believe that's JD.
That would be JD.
Oh, that's
Took
fine
one
then.
on the noggin for the team.
We don't have to worry about him then.
I go over to check him out to make sure the creature is still breathing, i.e., he's still alive.
He is, like, no need to roll a check for this. JD is alive, breathing, but he is passed out. The blow to his head that happened when he charged at the elephant-sized scorpion, and, you know, because that's what you discovered during the fight anyway, that any time that you would try to attack, the scorpion, most of the time, the same momentum of the blow would turn against you and hit you instead. Which is kind of a problem. But thankfully, you notice that he is not dead, merely passed out. And we'll probably just need to sleep it off.
Is he the size of like a standard North American white-tailed deer, or we're talking something smaller, like a roebuck or anything? I.e., small, is it too big for me to pick up and carry him inside?
No, he's the size of a white-tailed deer.
Okay, that's pretty good size then.
Like
I'll try to.
You could
holding
probably...
the bat, making sure I've got the bat in one hand, increase my strength. I'll try to get under, do a fireman's carry, as if I was the hunter carrying in his
kill.
In the cat, carrying in the kill for the week and all that, and carry him inside.
He surprisingly is not really heavier than what you would expect for like a deer this size. Even though this is clearly magic, he might actually even be lighter than a deer.
So maybe more the weight of a one that's been already field dressed rather than the whole thing before the whole body. Then okay,
kind of. You're not quite sure. Because, an average deer is what, like 150, 160 pounds?
Something like that, yeah.
It might just be that, because you don't know how heavy JD was, but it might just be that the deer has the same weight that JD had in the first place. And so you're able to, like, hoist him up, put him on your shoulder, and walk to his room to drop him in. And I do believe this is the first time someone's entered JD's room. I don't think anyone ever went there.
I mean, we saw his house. I can't imagine his room is entirely different from how that's decorated.
It's pretty much the same.
I never saw the house. They did, but it'll be a revelation to me either way. So
it is a hunter's, very much a hunter's paradise. The walls are adorned with trophies of various animals. Either, could be horns, could be like heads mounted on the wall. Sometimes it's sometimes it is only I said head, horns. Sometimes it's only two, like teeth, like a necklace of teeth just hung on a hook. Even the interior of his room looks like, because you live in this sort of modern log cabin, if you will, but his room looks very much older. Like you were in an actual like shack somewhere in the middle of the woods where you didn't have electricity, you didn't have much of the comforts of modern civilization, which is probably why he sleeps on the couch more often than not, even though he has the power to change.
And a cross between Little House on the Prairie and Grizzly Adams?
Yeah, kind of. I will say kind of, even though I don't know what Grizzly Adams is. But I assume this is the look that we... yeah, okay. Yes, very much, yeah. And it's got, aside from that, like no furniture. There's not even a closet. There's no dresser. There's no. It's just. devoid
for
of,
everything.
of almost
A pile
anything.
for
Yeah.
everything and everything in its pile, right?
Yeah, basically. Kind of a messy place. You drop the deer over over his like cot, I should say. And leave his room while Chappa, meanwhile, in the living room, hasn't tended to the mess that's been made. He's just pacing back and forth, scratching his head from time to time, or slapping his wide, heavy giant beaver tail on the floor, and still going like, okay, wait, there has to be a way. There has to be a way. That's never. He turns to D and Kieran. That's never happened before.
So it's as bad as I think it is.
I'm not a mind reader, but I will say yes.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Um,
So does this mean we have to? Is this a house remodel situation, or is this a full-on houses got to be closed down permanently situation?
I would like to think it's not the latter. I'm just a builder. I don't. Huh.
As I
don't
wonder
think.
Is there any kind of ward that we could cast that would assist?
Maybe yes. Without stripping the entire place of its powers, and I can't. I will not remove this place from the world, because that would mean you all can't stay here. If I do that, let me think. A ward.
Here's a question. Does a house have to hear what's being said that exists within it in order for it to manifest? Or is it just that somebody who's been in the house has to think about something and then it appears in the house? Like, if you put up a sound dampen, like a proofing ward around the perimeter of the house that he can't pass through, would that work?
Oh. Maybe. Perhaps. But then again, and he just turns to like the living room and you see the mess that was made. A broken chandelier, the like torn up couch, the glass, coffee table that you had, glass and wood that, shattered into pieces. As he says, well, he looks to the mess and the mess just disappears. I certainly don't have to say anything out loud.
Oh. Well, fuck me then.
Good idea, though.
But perhaps you're not tied to the place. Does any one of you want to volunteer for something?
What do you have in mind?
Oh, it's what you have in mind. Try to...
I think I see what you're talking about.
Yeah. Try to reorganize the living room.
All right. And I will imagine, just for stark contrast to make sure that it's actually working, I will imagine the inside of an old Irish pub that in the town where I grew up in as a kid.
All right. Make a It's going to be a little weird because it's going to be just a legend roll.
Okay.
So I think you're going to have to type it out. But it's basically a d10 per, not per dot of legend, but per point of legend you have left. So if you had like used some and checked them out, you won't be able to roll them. But otherwise, it's 1 per point that you have.
All right. So 1d10 for each one of those. So that would be 3. Are 3 10, is that right?
Oh my god.
Holy cow.
You get to reroll 2 of those.
Damn.
All right.
Again, I guess.
What the hell kind of roll? Okay, so
is that 5?
Shane,
5. Yeah,
We win the
5
game.
successes.
It's over.
5
the
successes.
best
Is a
part
crit.
is I just wasted that on this instead of something.
Uh-huh.
Decoration.
Well, it's not necessarily wasted.
Yeah, but we are trying to figure out something. So if it
Not only-
leads to our defense.
Well, not only do you turn the living room into the inside of this Irish pub that you remember, but for a brief moment, the people that you remembered living in, not living, but being there, you know, in your memories of one time that you visited, they actually appear. They appear and they act exactly the same way you remember them acting. Except you were young at the time. So you were looking at them from a low angle.
So they're
So they are actually freakishly tall. It's like you summon giants into the house for maybe like 3 seconds at most. They materialize the sound of the voices of the pints clicking, like clinging together, the chatter, even like the faint music of was it a band? Was it just
it was probably some if knowing me, it would probably be a jukebox playing the Chieftains or something like that.
Even the music, like just a couple notes, just enough to say that we're not demonetized, starts playing, and then it fades away. The sounds, the music, the giants, but the rest of the living room remains the same. It is now just a pub, complete with, you know, there's half a dozen wooden table, some of them round, some of them square, chairs all over the place. There's a section of the living room that's like the beginning of the bar counter, because evidently the bar, it's the pub that you visited that you remember is bigger than the space you have for the living room.
Of course.
But your memories and your will just superimposed what you could recall into reality. And Chapa again looks at like all of you in turn, and then at Finbar, eyes wide. Huh.
They always said I had a vivid imagination as a child.
I see. You've grown since the first time you came. What you're doing there, or what you just did, that's good news, I guess. I believe good news. We might not need to ward the place, he says. There might be an alternative.
Oh, really? What alternative would that be?
How would you like to have your own piece of paradise?
You're saying that I or we would be capable of creating, for lack of a better way of stating it, our own cabin in another location.
Exactly. Now, it's harder than it sounds. I'll tell you right away. It is harder than it sounds. Quite complicated. It requires a lot of power. It requires altering the fate of the world in a way. And well, imagine if fate was a series of threads. It would be like cutting a thread in two different locations, taking that piece away. Whatever happens to the original thread, we don't care. But you take this little piece of string, of twine, you loop it back on itself and tie it in a nice knot. That little bow that you get, the little... Anyway, it's your piece of string. You get what I mean? You took it, but it's yours. And you're the only master in this place. They're just like, here. Fate doesn't... He knocks on wood with his tail. Doesn't have a way to interfere too much here. But sometimes it seeps through. Other times you're fine. And you can decide what you want. And shape your little thread. It would be... Well, it's preferable than to live in the world with mortals because they, it tends to be messy and complicated.
Interesting.
All you need is, for lack of a better word, a seed of power.
Oh, is that all? I suppose that we can't go get that at the Five and Dime somewhere, right?
If only. It's, as time went on, it's been getting harder and harder to find one. You're probably gonna have to for lack of a better term, cannibalize an existing dying terra incognita. You know of any?
Can't say that I do off the top of my head. So basically, we need to find another place that's not being used and remodel it to our own needs.
Well, wasn't there that one that we went to that was for the dead guy whose name escapes me?
Oh, yes.
Killian.
Where Eddie made his weapon at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't the weapon, was it? It was like a
Yeah,
thing.
where he got the amulet.
Seemed pretty intact despite him being dead for that long.
Yeah, but he's not using it.
Seemed like he was if I remember correctly, it seemed like he was waning in his power, and it almost looked like he had kind of dissipated into the ether when we were there. We could check it out. If he's still using it, then it's not like we probably would have the power to evict him or anything like that. We could always try to find another spot, but it would be a place to start.
I mean, that's the best option. I mean, that's the only one we know of right now, right?
Well, if you know one, the seed is really just the start. Then you're going to need to work it. You're going to need to nurture it. You're going to need to do all sorts of things. I can help with it if you have one, but finding the seed is like finding the Corvette. I think it would be better if I showed you. Come with me. And he like waddles outside.
Okay. I follow.
All right then.
He walks all the way to the edge. I'm so sorry. He walks all the way to the edge of the pier that gives onto the lake. And he looks back. Looks back at you. You can all hold your breath just fine, right? Or you breathe underwater.
No. Can't. I can hold my breath, but only a normal amount of time.
So then, how long are we going to be needing to hold our breath? Some of us may be a little bit better at it than others.
Maybe a half hour.
Sure.
Definitely not that.
And immediately Finbar starts thinking about the scuba gear that he has now in his section of the cabin.
Yeah, there is a like the entire apparatus, the oxygen tank, the mask, the glasses, the goggles, like the everything.
I think of 3 of them, in fact, or actually probably 4.
Morning's going to stay on land for now.
Okay, all right. I'll think of the 4th one just in case.
No, yeah.
Backup plan.
But yeah, you
Something happens,
remember
she needs to join us.
You remember, that one time that you bought like bulk diving equipment on sale, and they all appear in your room. You go and get them, and yeah, lo and behold, Kieran, the wetsuits are like your size. It's just all there.
Nice.
Indeed, yours even has the ability to encase around your tail without causing any discomfort.
Oh, thanks.
Do you suit up?
Yeah.
Because Chappa is not going. Well, he's going to wait for you, but like, it's not going to wait very long, and he already like dives into the lake and swims away from the shore. You follow him. I'm just gonna, for the sake of it, just gonna ask a stamina athletics
good.
check from all three of you.
Oh Lord.
Athletics? What athletics?
However, because you have the equipment and everything, I'll say that you have a +1 enhancement. So if you have at
Cool.
least a success, you get a second one. D.
Oh, sorry, that was the wrong thing. Sorry, that was.
Stamina academics. Oh, what the
Yeah.
hell? I was gonna say something, but I
So
didn't
that's
read
3d10.
academics.
So that's like another 2d10. We'll just roll the 2d10. Nope.
Okay. Well, that's kind of cool for me because that means both you and Kieran got a fumble. Kieran and D,
Cool.
you've never gone like scuba diving.
Absolutely not.
You can swim with the equipment just fine on the surface of the lake, but once Champa dives and Finbar follows, the two of you try as you might, you're not able to get the whole like breathing with the tank. The like flippers don't seem to work. It's a mess, and you end up breathing in quite a lot of lake water, and are forced to remain on the surface. As Finbar dives deep, and with Chappa, he'll be gone for a half hour. What do the two of you do during that time?
D just cries at that. All right, I'm not.
All right there.
It's not as easy as I thought it was.
No. This whole like excessive sort of like sporting type thing, not for me. You play Pokemon Go?
Yeah. You know, maybe we should just ask them to take a camera, waterproof camera. We can just sit. Let's go
Aye, that's a good idea.
get something to drink. Just. They said half an hour, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
All right.
There's
No, I think
Starbucks around here.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we can get one. We can just order one. It's half an hour. There's a door. All right, let's get this thing off. I hate this thing. Never want to do this.
So you'll head back to shore. Meanwhile, because I'll leave you two there for now. Chappa and Finbar, you actually reach the bottom of the lake. It took a good 10 minutes of intense swimming downward to the middle of the lake. And when you reach the middle, you see underwater this wide stump of a tree. And you notice all over it are these these carvings and markings. What's the name for it?
Excuse me.
I lost the name. I had it the other day and I was like, I'll remember. You remember seeing those in history courses. These there you go. Wigwasabak, the name in Ojibwe for it. Birch bark scrolls. They're like basically what we would consider like their written language, to like generalize quite a lot. Many of these drawings don't really look like anything. They're geometric forms, shapes, patterns. But you think just looking at it through, like, you know, the murky water of the lake, it looks like it's a map of the entire area. And Chappa just motions for you, like points at you and points at the stump.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I swim in as close as I can so I can try to take in everything that I'm seeing here to get to understand what's going on with it.
You, of course, you know, cannot breathe underwater, nor would smells be something that carries over underwater, but you are a Scion, and that means you can smell the divine. Even though, you know, you have the mask, the goggles, the everything, it still smells very, very strongly of me trying to find it again. Ah, there we go. Nope, nope, nope. Smells very strongly of tobacco, but like fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And even when you, the closer you get, the more you can hear these like mumbled, almost like faded whispers in very low voices. You could swear for a moment all of the markings, they glowed just slightly, like almost like a shimmer, if you would. This stump is by itself just immensely powerful. In fact, in some way, this stump can create life, and it did so. It created the entire, you know, mini world around it. And Chappa just, you know, is swimming in place, looking at the stump, and looking at you, and he seems very, like, it's one of the rare times you've seen him proud. The last time you saw that face on the giant beaver was when you all pitched in together and created the cabin.
Now, the markings on here, it's all geometric shapes. Is there any language on there at all?
If there is an alphabet, it is entirely unknown to you.
Okay.
Perhaps the shapes are. Perhaps, like, some of them you think that they are, they would represent some things, like almost like an hieroglyph.
Yeah, everything's more symbolic. It's not really a language per se. That the Bard ability app that Ogma gave me would be able to.
You would have to get your phone out for that.
Yeah.
If you do, then some of it will be translated.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. First, I'm going to imagine that I brought with me my waterproof OtterBox or equivalent case that it's in.
Yeah, no, the phone's pretty much, magical and will not. Water won't destroy it.
Okay. I didn't want to take the chance of it getting damaged by being from water pressure or anything like that. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and pull that out so I can see if it can help me till I start to excuse me, rewind, decipher what it's saying.
So you begin to scan it with your phone, and even the tiny bard inside your phone is having a hard time trying to decipher what it is, because normally you can decipher anything that is on your your tier or lower.
Right.
Meaning right now any human language
Exactly.
you can decipher, which part of what's written on the stump is in a human, it's in the Ojibwe language, but there's like a half of it that's in a language you have never seen before. And that even the bard is unable to translate. Right. What you can make out are rules. You make out, for instance, the rule about the door in the physical world, and the fact that in this instance, with this location, only those who have been invited can go back through, let's call them magical means. Whereas those who have never set foot in here must find the place, the Axis Mundi, to access it. But anyone who does, finds it. Which may, not quite sure Finbar, because, the entire group of godlings, you've never encountered enough Axis Mundi to really have a sound theory as to how they work. But the fact that it's been laid out here in writing leads you to think that perhaps that's not the case with others. Like, that may just be
a house rule.
Part of it also, I don't know if you remember, way back when we started playing this game, Winnie had a scroll. Like a birch scroll that she brought to Choppa. And that's, how the house came to be and blah, 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 because she cashed in a favor that her son owed her. But what was written on that scroll is also written here. And it is just a very polite, almost letter, if you will, of Choppa saying that he wants to thank his mother for what she did, for raising him, for bringing him into the world, for giving him life and purpose. And should she ever need anything, that she just has to say the word. Like, that part of the scroll is also carved into the stump. Can you make a... Oh, that's a good one. Let's go with intellect and occult.
Okay. And go. Select it.
2 successes. That's plenty enough. Looking over the stump, despite, the half that you cannot read, you think that the everything else that was written, everything that is on and perhaps within the stump itself was made, was chosen, let's say, when the seed was planted. That all of these either maybe memories or emotions, those desires, that also encompass, the rules of the place, how this place reacts to people and such. That all of this is chosen and almost set in stone when it's created. And thus probably cannot be changed later. Which might explain why Choppa was freaking out earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's a loophole in the rules, in how this place came to be, then there's no way to actually fix it.
Right.
You get the feeling, looking at all of this, that whatever tree used to be where the lake is now, it's that tree that was used to create the first constructions here. Or perhaps the seeds of that tree were used to plant the forest all around the cabin. But whatever it is, it grew from all the magic that was infused in the stump. And thus is in everything around. Which means that if you wanted to, in modern parlance, if you want to patch anything up, you would have to scrap everything and start all over.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think it's possible.
Yeah. In this case, you'd need a whole new seed, a whole new tree, and everything.
Which is almost better for you to create a new place.
Mm-hmm.
Than to, well, even if you wanted to destroy this one, you'd have no choice to destroy it and start over.
Yeah. It's an all or nothing principle here.
Yeah. But yeah, with your 2 successes, and I would advise for you to take note of it, that all the rules for the world that you want to create will be set in stone and cannot be changed. Think of it like asking a genie for a wish. Make sure you've got the wording right.
Exactly.
Because otherwise people like Yoshi can definitely take advantage of it. When you look back from the stump, Choppa is gone. Meanwhile, at the surface, as you swim out onto the beach, take your scuba diving equipment off, you would see some ripple in the lake where the 2 of them dove, and the head of this giant beaver popping out, swimming back to shore. He's gonna be here for a while.
Oh.
You didn't want to come?
You know what? It's a lot harder than it looks to do the whole scuba thing.
Well, I don't know why you bother yourself with all of that equipment. I mean, you just need to dive down and, paddle with your limbs. It's that easy.
I don't think the paddling is the part of it that's going to get us. I think it's the part that we can't necessarily hold our breath as long as you can. So, other than that, how's it going down there?
Oh, he's engrossed with the seed. It's going to take a while. I don't know how these work, and he points to like the oxygen tank, but I figure if he breathes through it, he should be okay.
Okay, so that long. Okay, that was gonna be my next question. Was like, how long is long? Because
you tend to lose track of time when you play with the seed. It's strange that way. Well, you remember, and he points to the cabin. You remember how long it took you to build all of this?
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like it went by in the flash of an eye. Blink of an eye. That's the expression. Yeah, blink of an eye. Time went by very quickly. In reality, it's almost like a year. You don't notice it because you're used to time as it is in the mortal realm. But you've actually been in this place for a long, long time. It just might not seem like it to you, but... kind of part of the... you're like fixtures here now. Sort of. And like he motions with his hand. Like my son was yay high when you came, and now he like moves his hand up to kind of indicate that, you know, this child is like double in size. But for all of you, it's been what, 2 months, 3 months tops that you've been here.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. Time flows differently. I mean, how often have you seen the sunset?
It's a good question.
Because, well, there's no real sun. He points to what should be the sun. And as he points to it, he just moves his finger up and down, and the sun goes down to dusk, to dawn, to the zenith, and back down to where it usually is. You tend to lose track of time, is what I meant. Anyway, the Sage Man is going to be able to explain everything once Finbar comes out.
Good.
Otherwise, I will see you later. Come and find me when you have a seed.
Will do.
I'll be waiting for you. And he waddles away.
I think what was it? Decent look at Kieran and just like, nothing's ever easy, is it, with these sort of things?
No.
You wait a bit more and see Finbar pop out of the water. And he makes his way to the beach. And before we go into more exposition or explanation, we're going to take a short break. We're going to be right back. Because, wow, time flies by. So stick around, everyone. We'll be back in a few minutes. Grab yourself some coffee, stretch, do all that thing. And see you here in about 5 minutes. Hey, we're back. We've got coffee, we've got stretches, and we've got Finbar coming out of the water.
Blub, 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 blub.
What's going on?
So, how'd it go down there?
Yeah.
Very interesting, very intriguing. It looks like if we find our own seed to make our own place, we're going to have to be very careful how we do it. Because once we decide what the rules are, one, they can't. The big thing is it can't be changed.
Mhm.
Imagine it looks like a stump down there, but instead of it's got all of these characters and texts and geometric shapes and all that represent the language that he used for it, but it's not as much carved into it. It's kind of born into it. It kind of looks like basically once it's there, you can't change it. It's not like a constitution that you can add amendments to or something like that. Once it's there, it's there. We can't change anything.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got everything here. I used my phone to take images of everything. Some of the stuff I was not able to interpret, but I'm thinking maybe if I have the images with me, with enough research, maybe I can try to find out what this language is to try to see what it is, to see what else is there as well. But it's something we could probably do, but it's something we need to do very carefully.
I see. So, like, choose your words carefully, sort of thing.
Yes.
Good.
Basically, the old line of "Be careful what you ask for, you may get it." If you don't phrase it, or like the old stories with the genies and stuff like that, make sure that when you're making or when someone grants you wishes or something like that, make sure that you know exactly what you're saying.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Oh, this is going to be a pain. It's going to be a lot of paperwork, isn't it?
Somewhat. Some arcane paperwork for sure, but I think it's something.
Boy.
I think it's something that we can at least look at trying to do. Might not be a bad plan to try to come up with our own place, so that way. Obviously, the Yoshi's looking for us, not necessarily Choppa and everyone else here. If we can go to our own place, that'll be in a place that he cannot get to. Might
So
be better off for everybody involved.
So is that the place that we said? That's still suitable then, right? We don't have to go like looking out for another totally different thing.
Well, I guess we'd have to find the seed to see if we can find the seed there.
Yeah.
And if it's amenable for us to be able to, for lack of a better way of saying it, program it the way we want it to be programmed.
You know, that sounds better. Programming is a better way than legal document. So, well, that makes things seem a little less overwhelming.
We just got to make sure that there's no bugs in the program.
Because then you fall through the world and that sort of thing is bad.
We don't want to get caught in an if-then loop or something like that and not be able to get out of it.
Indeed. You wouldn't want to end up in like a liminal space inside your own world.
Yeah. I'm thinking of like the animation glitches where like the rigging just like explodes like inside out. It's like, you don't want that. That's bad.
So what's your next step? Godlings, what's on your mind?
I mean, this should be our first order of business, shouldn't it? Just because if you can keep doing this, it's not necessarily safe. It'd be best to try and get as much as Choppa said it's going to be a lot of work. Might as well get started on that.
There's our choices. We either do this, or we find a way to take Yoshi out, one or the other. And I'm not sure if we're how capable we are of doing.
Yeah, these. I can totally take him. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Divine fists and all that. Yeah. Plus, he probably has a lot of help. There's probably at least the people he has favor with are probably going to make it extra hard. So maybe.
As people.
Probably. Or at least others like him.
We really quite don't know how much, if he's an army of one, or if he's got an army behind him or not.
Well, you remember at least one creature that was with him, or that bore him away from you.
Mm-hmm. That divine favor thing that he did, yeah.
Yeah.
That was part of it, yeah.
So, Kieran, what do you think?
I don't know. It's worth looking into. Both things are worth looking into. I mean, if he's some sort of pariah from his dad, then I can't imagine he's got much support, right? Maybe you could ask your associate, your TA. I don't know what she is
Jomo,
exactly.
Yeah.
If she could do a little bit of research.
Yeah. But the way he was talking, it sounded like he had at least comparable power to what he had before, if not more. So that's something we should keep in mind if we want to deal with him.
We're gonna have to deal with him eventually. We can't just ignore him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the festering wound will only get worse if we ignore it.
Do we even have any idea where he went? Like, where would he settle in the base of operations?
Well, instinct would tell me he'd go to whatever land or area he considers home or native to him.
Well, I guess bottom of that would be finding out what that is, who he got favor from.
Did you have any indication when you dealt with him over in India? Any clues there?
What was the thing that took him out, that bore him away?
That is a good question. Anyone in the group that you think would yeah, I think everyone can try an intellect plus occult. And you would need 3 successes.
Holy cow.
2 successes.
D and Kieran, not quite sure.
But if you could describe it to me.
But
Maybe
yeah,
I'd
but
recognize
the moment that Finbar will say out loud what it is, I know D will recognize it instantly. But that was the pet of Raijin.
Mm-hmm.
A creature called Raichu.
Okay.
The Thunder Beast. Which, is a Pokemon now. But
I mean,
yeah.
It's a good reason, but yeah.
But that's what it is, yeah.
Oh.
Raichu is this strange lightning creature in the shape of a doggish.
Mhm.
though it can look like any other animal. So think like it's an animal made out of lightning.
It's a lightning beast.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, it's a very powerful creature, you think? If humans, humans
That's what that thing
basically,
is. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
humans have for a long time associated getting struck by lightning with Raijin trying to summon his Thunder Beast.
Yeah.
Because apparently Raiju likes to hide and sleep in people's navels. And Raijin will just shoot an arrow, i.e. lightning bolt,
Mhm.
to wake it up. Because it's supposed to, herald like storms and stuff. Killing the poor human whose navel Raiju was sleeping in the process. So if the myths are to be believed, that creature can hide anywhere, or at least within in people.
Good.
And it's made of pure lightning, so it hits with the strength of lightning.
Yeah. Oh, I think that jogs. These are. It's like, oh, that's. I definitely remember that. Not the creature, but the god. Raijin. That's gonna be bad. It's the thunder god. She'll bring up a bunch of
Pop culture.
well, not pop culture, but it's like
Okay.
there are carvings of this god that I have seen in person. It is scary. Like if I can bring it, I'll send it to the thing.
Oh yeah,
But-
no. IRL Raijin has nothing with like Raiden from Mortal Kombat. Like he's a monster.
Yeah, here I'll put the thing. It is frightening. They all look like this. They all kind of look like this. They're all
Oh,
scary-ish.
all right, friendly looking fellow, isn't
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's Raijin. For those who would like to have like sort of a depiction of the statue, it's the one that is on Wikipedia. But you have to imagine this like giant of a person with the face of someone who takes glee
Loves
by shooting
lightning.
people with lightning bolts.
loves the lightning. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the face reminds me of it was a character from Dragon Ball. Because of course it is. But I can't remember which one. Anyway, it not a cool creature. Often depicted with several non-human traits or limbs. Like sometimes he has a tail, sometimes he has like claws and like 3 fingers, or sometimes he has horns or tusks. But it's basically all to represent the same thing, which is he's supposed to be a monster. He's supposed to be intimidating. And definitely not someone you want to fuck with.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's him. God of lightning, thunder, storms. But, you know, it's not Raijin that Yoshi walks around with. It's Raijin's pet.
Yeah.
So you
But
know,
that's the but
Yeah,
that's
no.
the power. That's the power where that's coming from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not a non-issue. That's so. I mean, if he's in pure destruction, he has maybe traded up. So yeah, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we have to deal with then.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go after,
Also, she'll be like, there might be a complication. It might be beneficial or hindrance, but like he is part of a pair, and depending on what relationship is, he might be having help from him, or they might be fighting, and that might be better for us. But it's gonna be a
Who
thing.
would that be with?
Fujin, God of Winds,
That would make sense.
the whole Thunder Lightning Storms thing.
Mm-hmm. Would make sense to interrelate them like that.
But depending on where they're feeding or not, yeah, it could be easier or it could be a lot harder if we want to go that direction, of course.
All right, can I
All right.
ask a dumb and stupid question then?
Hmm.
Is there any way to get this wind god on our side and not on his?
I mean, I was about to ask if we could find someone who knows this wind god better to see if they are feuding. And if they are, as Finbar says,
you would need to find.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
The enemy of our enemy is our friend, usually.
Well, equally
sometimes the
destructive.
enemy of our enemy is our
Equally-
enemy too. So,
Equally
you know.
destructive, also.
yeah. But I mean,
Both
as far
probably
as
not.
you're concerned, you know, if you had questions to ask, you already know of someone who could
Yeah.
potentially answer them.
Yeah, I know. You'll love a favor. That's great. Another one. I think I still owe him from the training, but that's something I can do if we're.
Yeah, and so far he
Roger.
hasn't come to collect.
Yeah, but, you know, that's always good. It'll never be a
But you know,
conflicted time.
no,
Exactly.
that's it. And you know, if you do go and see him, like that might remind him.
Yeah. Tengu's also notorious pains in the butt, so.
Yep.
So that's where that situation is. So do we want to go the direct, or do we want to get this this realm thing situated first?
Well, I think what might be the deciding factor is, are we even capable of taking Yoshi and his allies on at this point right now?
Well, I feel like we should at least do what we can to learn what we can about them, because I feel like they're a more pertinent threat than, I mean, the realm will still be here.
Yeah.
We can always
True.
come back to it.
I mean, at worst, we can always just go back home.
Providing there are scorpions. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like we've got some investigating to do then.
All right. So how do we want to, like,
Mhm.
so investigating on the gods thing or the realm thing?
I suppose we need to nip Yoshi in the bud, as they say. The longer he goes, my fear is the longer we let him go, the more powerful he gets. We want to get him while we can and not take any chances that he's got an ace up his sleeve that we aren't prepared for.
Okay, well, guess we can take another trip. Although, that's right, you. Shit. Okay. How about this?
Yeah.
I'll go as I'll be a fox until he actually needs me. But we'll take that trip, I guess, too. Well, I guess it's the shrine, so she'll okay. She'll turn to the fox.
So you turn into your fox form?
Mm-hmm.
Do any of you accompany Dee to Japan again?
Are we allowed to?
Well, I mean, you're allowed at the foot of the mountain, that's for sure.
You can always like go back down to Kyoto. I mean, you're not wanted again. Your identity wasn't on there.
Yeah, yours is the only ID that's really in danger at this point. Because I wasn't there, and you don't show up on the video anywhere.
Yeah,
Kira.
Convenient that considering I'm probably got to come back here multiple times.
Okay, I mean, I'll go with you if you.
And I'm not gonna let you travel this and do this alone unless you insist on it.
I mean, unless I'm specifically told not to. I mean, that's always safer to go with everyone else in case something happens.
Yeah. The quarter 3 strands is not easily broken.
I mean, also the fact that it's the seat of my parent. It's also the seat of his new and Raijin. So
right, he's got more alloys there than we do.
Yeah, so that may sound like a better idea.
All right, I guess it's family reunion time. Let's head out. And I promise not to bring any potato salad.
So you make your way back to Japan, back to Mount Karama. And I guess the Kirin and Finbar, you are left to your own devices if you want to, walk around the Mount Kirama temple. If you want to just play the tourist and hike around the mountain for some time, while Dee goes up a path and quickly disappears into the foliage. Dee, you make your way up the mountain. You pass by several ravens who you're fairly certain...
Mm-hmm. I know friends. My friends.
Yeah.
Friends.
They know who you are.
I know who they are.
You are.
So, feelings mutual, you little assholes.
You're fairly certain some of them are like plotting your demise.
I mean, yes. I mean, yes. They are ravens.
And you get to the top of the mountain, exactly where you were, the same location, nothing has changed. Little hermit cabin. Rice paper walls. The steep, roof, the slanted roof that you've come to recognize, the chimes and the like prayer scrolls hung outside, and the distinct smell of tea wafting from inside the home.
I think with the shield turn, now that she doesn't have to worry about legal
Interpol?
things,
Uh-huh.
yeah, she'll turn back to her human form and just when she approaches the building, say Bijobo Sensei, I'm here to ask some questions. You have some things. I have some things that you might be able to help me with. If you can.
And
You can.
so you are back. And out of the little cabin comes a, long-nosed old man wearing, almost like Buddhist robes. His hair is just wild all around him. He looks kind of like oh my god, Doc Brown from or Rick from Rick and Morty. A little wild, a little disheveled, but still dressed kind of impeccably. As he comes out of the cabin, he has like his teacup in his hands, and there's a flock of raven that just flies up and perches, like they all perch on the roof above him.
Yeah, when he approaches, she'll do the respectful bow to like her elder and her teacher. Yeah.
I see the two of you have met then.
Unfortunately, yes, we had. Took advantage of my wanting to help people, and here we are. I also heard that you also had some history with him.
I did. Come. And he turns around, goes inside.
Yep, I'll follow.
You're fairly certain one of the ravens just let out a very tiny "fuck you" as you like went through.
They can do that. They can do that in real life, so that's not surprising.
Yeah, but that's probably no normal raven.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, so when you come inside. Again, the cabin seems to have changed a little. Like he's rearranged furniture and all that. There's not a whole lot anyway that he has. But there's now a I think it's a tatami. Yeah, like on the floor around where there's like a low table where all of his like tea ceremony material is. It seems like he upgraded a little. And his cabin is devoid of a lot of the, like, say, almost religious iconography there was before. He's like trimmed it down a lot. You feel like a sense of almost resignation when you enter the Sojobo's house. He invites you to sit at the table, and he does so on the other side, pours you some tea, and waits for a while. He's just like looking at you. You think he's looking also like through you?
Yeah.
He eventually breaks the silence. Was the best of all of them. Shanao-kun. Just a child back then. Rash, stupid, reckless child. But brilliant. Very unlike you. But the moment he was done with my training, Yoshi, I believe he goes by now. Well, the moment he was done with my training, Yoshi left. Never came back. Too good for me. I think he thought he was. Probably thinks he is still. You know you still owe me for all of my wisdom.
Yeah, yes. And it's still up to your discretion when you want to take me up on that.
I don't think I will.
I'll be prepared if you do.
No. That was part of it. Sort of the intent. You knew you would owe me. You knew the type of person I am. And despite everything, you still came back for more wisdom, more knowledge. You came back for my help, knowing quite well that I could ask anything of you.
Exactly.
You are the only pupil I ever had that bothered to come back. I mean, I still have...
Oh, she thinks something, but she's not going to say something out loud.
He says, I might still have a chore or two for you to do around here if you were so inclined in helping an old man out.
I mean, that would only be polite. You serving tea and whatnot, of course.
We can talk about that later.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's more pressing things that I wish I didn't have to deal with that, well, doesn't seem like will leave me alone or leave us alone. Because he has somehow, through his deceptions, managed a way into our realm of safety and made it apparent that he can and will probably make life hell for us until we have to deal with him. And everyone is pretty set on dealing with him, but I just want a better idea. I know that because I saw Raiju with him, and that Raijin is the person he's getting power from, and I know the stories, but I just wanted a better idea of what we're dealing with if we're at the point that we can even deal with that right now. Because I do not want them to be put in something where they have no ability to contend with. I just want to know what we're dealing with.
So Jobo takes a while to answer. And he gets up, teacup in hand. Sort of turns around to look at the wall behind you, like he's looking at maybe the horizon outside. And he takes a few deep breaths. And D, can you make me a dexterity plus athletics check, please?
Good. Cool.
As
All right.
a teacup comes flying at your head.
This is 100% gonna. Nope, actually, no. It's like 3 successes.
You move out of the way. The teacup crashes against the wall in back of you, shatters into pieces. And so Jobo looks genuinely surprised. Well,
I think
maybe
Dee was surprised that she missed it. I think it was. I think she's just like.
Then
what I do. Like I think she's thinking like she did something to warrant the cup being thrown at her.
It takes like a moment for his like surprising confusion to.
We're both confused and surprised,
like,
but for different reasons.
He says, "Perhaps my training did stick after all."
Good. I can dodge fine tableware. That's.
I was expecting you to still have the reflexes of sleeping puppy, but
I've had to run away from and not get killed by a bunch of things. So
running for one's life always helps. Forges character. Well, maybe you can face Yoshi. Oh, he is a much, much better swordsman than you probably ever will be.
It's not.
But that's not where your strength comes from. I'm fairly certain that perhaps if you manage to even the odds in your favor, that you could get the drop on him. There's only really one issue. And it's that beings like Raijin, they're not quite like your divine parent, you know?
Yes.
Since they can't really have children, they have to steal, they have to take them.
Mm-hmm.
There was once a time, eons ago, ooh, my bad, when all of these beings, all of these gods and ancestor to those gods, there was a time when they were perhaps able to procreate in a way. Not anymore. Really, I never actually bothered to know why. But the point is they can't anymore. And that's what's important. You see, because they can't have their own, and they have to take, either steal or convince or lure others to them in exchange for power, they are viciously protective of them. It's one of the selling points, if you will. How often have you met your parent?
Just the once.
And what did they do for you?
Clarified things.
Did they make your life any easier?
I mean, obviously not. Obviously not.
And he sits back down, pulls like another teacup from out of his sleeve, pours himself some tea. And tell me, if I were to come out of nowhere and offer you answers, peace of mind, power. Mind you, it might not be power that you are looking for per se. But peace of mind, quiet, serenity. Would you want that? This is hypothetical. I can't offer any of this. But if I could, would you take it?
I mean, it depends what that would mean. That can be a lot of things. And you know what? People doing things aren't without strings, and you gotta look at that. So be wary, at least.
Many are not as wary as you are. You still have a long way to go in life, and maybe one day such an offer will not seem so odd, so dangerous. That's what happened with my old student.
Was that before or after?
Oh, it was after he was done with me, but the seed of corruption was in him.
Not you, the situation with his parent.
It happened after he came here. But he had the potential, the need for greatness was already there. The cracks were there, no matter how hard I tried to smooth them out. I'm no mason. I'm just a hermit. I thought, foolishly perhaps, that if I was to teach him in the ways of the unseen world and the seen, if I was to teach him in the art of war and peace, that perhaps the cracks wouldn't be so bad. They were there, and Raichin used them. And compared to Yoshi's actual, not even actual, natural wouldn't even be the right term. There's no real word for it. Original parent. Hachiman. Well, some beings are thick-headed. And the gods are probably the worst of them all. He looks to the ceiling very quickly. if there was any love between Hachiman and Yoshi, there might still be today. No one will ever know. Yoshi did something, I'm not quite sure why or what. But it made Hachiman forsake his son. And it is then that Raijin came in. And Raijin wants to keep Yoshi for who knows what reason. Raijin will protect his adopted son. And this is probably the greatest challenge. Much harder to dodge than a teacup.
Or dodge lightning, certainly.
If he engulfs the world in lightning, where will you go?
Nowhere, I suppose.
Do you remember the task I had set you out for? The last one, the very last one.
Oh, yes, I definitely remember that one.
How did you do it?
Healed it as much as I could.
And that seemed to have worked. Hasn't it?
Seems like it. At least for now.
Would you say you have defeated it? Would you say the risk of it coming back and destroying the islands is nil?
I treat it certainly not, but I mean, it's as much part of the island as, you know, the rocks are, so defeating it would also be bad, I think. But no. Not defeated, certainly not. Definitely would not word it that way.
But you've placated it. It didn't really do exactly what I required. You interpreted what I wanted. Mind you, the task I set you out to do was almost impossible.
It was very large.
Yes. But you dealt with it from an angle that I did not think of. And Namazu is, well, like you said, part of the world. Just like Raijin is part of the world. Just like Yoshi and yourself and your friends playing tourists right now are part of this world. Maybe there's a way to deal with him that does not require you to end his life or trap him away.
I mean, that would be ideal. Don't like the idea of fighting any more than I have to. It's not really my way of doing things. And I certainly don't have the amount of skill that he does in that matter at all.
Then maybe there's a way. But what do I know? I'm just an old bird living away from the world.
But, you know, old birds have a lot of experience and have a lot of knowledge, certainly more than, exceptionally more than I do. So if you have anything that could help.
I might have something. It's going to require a lot of effort and sacrifice.
Figure that important things always do, so.
Good. How would you like to battle a god? And we're going to end on that.
Her eyes just like,
Today.
what? No. Like, no. Cool.
Yeah. We're ending a little earlier, but that's because I want to keep the next part for next week.
Yeah.
You
don't want to fight nothing.
Oh, it's not
physically, at least physically.
Well, we'll see, but there are ways to do things.
Yes.
But Sojobo's way does involve pissing off a god. So
Good, great, another one.
Something that we've become quite good at, it seems, as of late.
Good. Excellent.
Mm-hmm. Mind you, you've thank you for the bits. You've yet to anger one of your parents.
Yeah. Oh, he specifically said God. Okay, that makes okay.
We've
Cool.
yet to anger one of our parents.
Well, yeah, all of you so far have, like, throughout our entire, chronicle, you've never went up against, like, one of your divine parents. Or at least a god. Like, we're not talking titans. You've met titan spawns, you've fought monsters, creatures, but you've never, like, flipped off one of your parents.
Well, then this should be fun. I don't know. What this is gonna...
Why don't we get the feeling we're getting ready to move up from AAA to the big show?
But that is it for today. Players, I'll give you the mic and then I'll do all my spiel after. But if you have anything going on, any other streams, any places we can find you on the internet, please let all of our viewers know. We'll start with the person. Same order as we did the intros, basically. So we will start with Kieran.
That's me. I'm Kieran. No, I am Hannah. And you can find me on Twitter at Hanimation Art and everywhere else at Hanimation Studios. And you can find me in person tonight at 8 p.m., I believe, over on Praxicor at Thesmophoria's channel for some Mechton Raiders. Come check it out. It'll be fun. And then you can find me back here next Thursday for some more Inspectors. So please be sure to check that one out. It is a lot of fun. It is hilarious. We have a new mascot that is, well, you'd have to come and see the stream to know what it is. And you're going to want to see that. So,
yeah.
check us out.
thank you for coming. Up next, we have D.
Hey, I'm Lynn, Grim Lynn Art, pretty much everywhere, Twitter, Twitch, any place you can find me. And you can catch my art there, as well as next time you'll see me on Tuesday on the amphitheater for Eualia, a Redwall story. We are a bunch of little forest creatures trying to stop Redwall Abbey from being invaded. And on Wednesdays, you can catch me on follow Black Cat channel for Hexcrawl, a spy game campaign where we have basically survived a fight on an airplane. We landed that successfully, and now we are heading off, I think, to India to try and get some dangerous, like, explosive drones. So that should be fun. And on next Saturday, you can catch me on Practical There's channel for the Starblade Battalion, which is the sister campaign of corporate raiders, where my sweet pilot just has had it with like her spy brother and spy squad mate. And she's been pushed out because she just basically betrayed her family and cried during a mission. So that's where she's at.
Nice. And last but not least, Finbar.
All right, I'm Kentucky Hawkeye. You can catch me on my Twitch channel, KY Hawkeye, where I run Hawkeye's Old Time Gaming Emporium. Monday nights is Family Night at the Emporium. My daughter Bonnie and I have been doing a series of games. We're currently working our way through the Room 3. We've been having a lot of fun with the puzzles and clues coming from that one. We have a good time with that one. Tuesday night is Grappler's Keep, my WWE 2K20, soon to be 2K22 universe, where a number of DMs, GMs, and RPG players from across the Twitch universe compete in a ring that we lovingly call the Dice Tray. I'm getting ready to upgrade to the WWE 2K22 version of the game and getting everyone up to date there. But before that, a week from tonight at 8 p.m. will be our Dice Mania pay-per-view. This is our equivalent of WrestleMania. This is the big one to wrap things up with 2K20. We have all of the title belts will be on the line, including the women's Mistress of Mayhem belts will be on the line, and a men's triple threat ladder match for the Master of Melee Championship will be among the big matches we have for there to wrap up the season for there and get ready to move into the new version of the game. I've got just about everything done up. Just have to do some testing right now and get the calendar all set up. And hopefully in a couple of weeks, we'll be ready to go with the new version of the game and be rid of all of the bugs of 2K20. But otherwise, you can also catch me here Saturday night, Saturday afternoons as well, here for more Scion with all of my godling friends.
Thank you so much, players, for being here today. Thank you for taking time off your Saturday afternoon, even though apparently we've all had a lot of trouble waking up at the start of the stream, me included. But thank you to Found Familiar for coffee to keep me awake. But also thank you to all of you in chat. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for the bits. Thank you for just hanging out with us every week. And we will see you again next Saturday. No, is it next Saturday? Oh. Yes, next Saturday. The 30th for what will probably be the Scion's weirdest challenge yet. Maybe most dangerous. So we'll see. Because it's always great to ask a Tengu for help. So
I placated a giant fish.
Dangerous?
Yeah, I placated a giant fish. I don't know. That was pretty weird. This should be a thing then.
Oh, we'll see. But we'll go into those details next week. I am Simon at Wandering DM. You can find me over on Praxagorathus Mephoria's channel tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Eastern for Witcher. Then we're going to be back here at the Wandering Society for Inspectors, our Ghostbuster meets The Office game of Inspector, eponymous game, on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then next Saturday here for more Scion. Thanks everyone for coming. Have a good weekend, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.